It was also a horrible part of town, so we didn't want to be there forever. So there was like gunshots behind our house. Like
Crazy.
multiple people died on our street while we were living there. It's not a good place. If we can suck it up for like 3 to 5 years, she'll be able to leave her job. I'll be able to leave my job. We can have a family. We can travel. We can do whatever we want. And that's exactly what ended up happening.
Hey, Gabe, thanks for joining me here. I've been a longtime follower of your channel, and I think you do really good work on that. And then I think we're on a somewhat similar journey towards financial independence using some real estate. So just wanted to kind of pick your brain on things real estate or financial independence. So
yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
I understand that you house hack, and I'm a fellow house hacker. So just curious on your thoughts there. Why'd you get started house hacking, and was it worth it?
Yeah, so I got my first house hack when I was 22, and it was like this thing that I heard about when I was like 18, rich dad, poor dad, all that, bigger pockets, obviously, and kind of went down that rabbit hole. And just like once I kind of like understood the math of like, oh, okay, you can live for free with a 3.5% down. It's not that much money, and I don't have that much money, so it's like it just seemed to make so much sense. That one has been literally, it was like completely life changing because I was able to, we were able to live there for free once we got married. We moved in there.
Yep.
And then that allowed us to get our second and third, and the prices have gone up. So it's been such a main reason I started my channel was just to tell more people about like, this is life changing. Please do this house hacking.
And at that age, a lot of people, your peers, my peers, maybe renting or maybe not living in a super nice luxury family house, for an example. Yeah. So I feel like it's just not that big of a deal to live in half a duplex. Did you, and maybe even more importantly, did your wife really hate house hacking and, living in multifamily?
So like we look at it like we would have had to rent somewhere anyways and been in the same situation. We just owned it this way and it was free. So like that way, like it was definitely hard. We lived in construction zones, and as soon as it was done, we like moved to the next one and did the construction zone again. But we kind of had this idea of like, if we can suck it up for like 3 to 5 years, she'll be able to leave her job. I'll be able to leave my job. We can have a family. We can travel. We can do whatever we want. And that's exactly what ended up happening.
Oh, wow.
So like when we had this vision of like, I know this is going to kind of suck and be hard for a while, but we're not going to have to work for the rest of our lives. Like if we can just do this, kind of like explaining that to her. She was really on board, super supportive. And, it was hard, but it was fun.
Yeah. Looking back now, it's got to be really a blessing. And how have you expanded into real estate since then?
Yeah. So we got that first 3 unit. We lived in one, rented the other ones out. And then 1.5 years later, got another 3 unit, lived in one, rented the other ones out, ran Airbnb. And like we had one apartment that had 4 separate Airbnbs in a 4-bedroom apartment.
Oh, wow.
So that was actually how I left my job, was because I was like really hacking. Like that apartment made $4,000 a month.
Oh, crazy.
So that was really cool. It was also a horrible part of town, so we didn't want to be there forever. So there was like gunshots behind our house.
Crazy.
Like multiple people died on our street while we were living there. It's not a good place. And I had no idea at the time. So we moved to a single family with an attached dwelling. We've been renting out the in-law apartment for the past couple of years. And now that we're getting ready to have our 3rd kid, we're actually going to take over that in-law apartment. Thank you. Well, we're not pregnant yet. Working
that's the
on plan.
It. Okay,
yeah.
Yep.
But we want to have we didn't have enough bedrooms. So we could either move, or we're just going to eat that in-law apartment for now, because I'll also be using it as a home office.
Yeah, I'm a big fan now after house hacking of a mother-in-law suite or an apartment over the garage or whatever, just because you could Airbnb it like you've done. You can long-term rent it. You can use it as your home office. You can have your in-laws come and hang out for a month when you have a newborn. Yeah. I think that's really powerful.
I'm a huge fan of that. It's like been really hard to finally get to the step of even getting rid of that and eating that part of the house, because I was like never wanted to pay a full mortgage, because it's like life is so easy when you don't have like a housing payment, or it's like you got a couple grand a month coming in for doing zero work,
Yeah. Big fan of real estate, drank the Kool-Aid for sure. And just very thankful to all the people that educated me and likely you too. So what other investments do you do outside of real estate?
All right. So I've got a couple. So it's gotten more recently, since I've actually I've never had money before, and not like I have a ton now, but it's more than I've had before. I invested in my business, so I've hired a lot of people out, and that's been my main thing of before anything else. I'm always if I can hire another thing, even if I'm looking to start another channel and hiring talent, and I think that's going to be the best use of my money. So that's always the first thing, buying good quality gear and stuff like that. But then as far as actual investments, I don't really do retirement accounts at all.
That's unique.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's also because I look at the rentals as retirement. So I bought this rental, it cost me $15,000 down. In 30 years, that'll be $1 million, $2 million, whatever whatever it'll be.
Yeah.
And so if I can just buy a couple more rentals over the next couple of years, that'll be my retirement and I can have more control over it. Maybe it's not the best strategy, but it's what I understand.
Yeah, I think it's a great strategy. One thing I regret, which maybe is not the right term, but is investing in my 401k for the last 10 years. And I didn't have enough confidence in myself to double down and really invest in real estate. I can look back and remember multiple deals where I didn't have 20 grand as a down payment, but I had 20 grand to put in my 401k the year prior this year. And so since then, I've stopped maxing out my 401k because I'd rather invest in myself, my business, my rentals, and just the cash flow and long-term appreciation. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's like if you're not a real estate guy, if you're not familiar with, investments and stuff like that, it's just going to be like a lot of people don't want that responsibility. But for me, I'm like, yes, I know I could get, 11% average in the S&P 500, whatever.
Yeah.
But I know guaranteed I can make a minimum of 20% with real estate plus the appreciation, plus all that other stuff, or investing more into my business, going to make way more than that. And also as I'm young, another thing I've done is like I'm starting investing in startup and some things like that, which have come more recently just because of, having a brand. And I think that is like much more high risk, high reward, but I want that risk right now because I'd rather take that risk, more of like a betting on yourself type of thing.
That used to be probably really scary to me, that the idea of doing that or selecting individual stocks. I really like Charlie Munger's strategy of get to know the leadership there. Yeah. And it's a lot of the soft skills. You're not looking necessarily only at the 90-day moving average, whatever that even means. You get to look under the hood. You get to hear the vision, meet the leadership. If you're not betting the whole farm on it, as long as one hit, you make it.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to the founder because again, it's just like kind of opportunities that have come through YouTube. Like I was working with this brand and they're just like starting stuff. And he was saying, because I knew nothing about startups before, and he was like, 1 out of 10 startups will do amazing. About 4 will do like, okay, you'll make a little bit of money. And then the other 5 you'll lose money on. So for me, he was saying the goal I should try to invest in like 10 startups over the next couple of years in order to have one take off and not just all bet on one.
That makes sense. And I don't know if you listen to Scott Trench with Bigger Pockets at all, but some things that he says often is he's, I think, mainly talking about starting a business and that has a 10% odds of success. And it's maybe the same math of, he's like, so as long as you just are committed to start 10 of them, you have 100% odds of success.
Amen.
So maybe that's crazy to some folks, but that's currently the plan of attack that I'm doing. I'm just committed to trying 10 things. I'll buy the tools, the software, the equipment, the help as needed. I'll try one and I'm guaranteed to learn something. And then the next attempt's likely going to be a little more strategic and I'll just keep playing whack-a-mole till one works, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing I tell like small YouTubers, like if you invest 10 grand into your channel over the next year, you'll either lose 10 grand or you'll build something that has a high probability to make 100K within like a couple of years. It could do absolutely nothing, or you could create this business and like what stock can you buy that has that capability. So it's like, just keep trying. I think you're doing the right thing.
Appreciate that, Gabe. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I signed for one of your courses here in the near future, talking about building an online business and how to do that. So I think you've got good real world experience and looking forward to some of the lessons.
Much like house hacking, I recommend like at least trying YouTube to a lot of people who are like, there's so many people who like think about it forever and I just want to help them like start. Cause like if you just start, like I had never picked up a camera before, but so many people when they're trying drop shipping, when they're starting a business, when they're doing whatever, they spend like months creating the website and the perfect name, whatever. It's like, just start making stuff. And at least you gave it your shot for a year or two and you move on to something else if it didn't click,
I've learned basic WordPress websites previously with a business I attempted. I mean, it's not that hard, but my results weren't that great by any means either. So even now I'm thinking of hiring one of the companies here to just build me a website and kind of white label everything, to set up courses, newsletters. I'm like, if I can just delegate this, pawn this off to somebody that's way better than I'll ever be on a weekend's worth of research, I'm just like, it'll give me 1% better odds of success and eventually something will work.
That's what I do with everything now. Like instead of trying to learn it on whatever, I just buy a course or hire somebody, because like I just don't have that much time to learn something and then probably suck at it,
Yeah, no, I hear you there. So I'm a Christian and my faith is a big part of my life. And then I've done some personal finance strategies that align with biblical values. I don't know if you're a Christian
Mhm.
Or are you aware of any of the biblical values around finances? Have you practiced those, tried those, seen good results from those? How has that impacted your life?
Yeah, I am a Christian. I guess the first thing that you think about when you think about that is tithing. So that was something that was really hard when I didn't have any money and I was starting, and I had just become a Christian right before me and my wife got married. Also, I think that changed my relationship with money a lot, and it kind of made me less attached to it because I was so attached to it because I was so frugal. And when you kind of like, even when you don't have money and you still like budget that in, that's been a huge help for me in a lot of different ways. And it's also like I've seen it help other people as well. So like I think that's big. And even now, like my goals as I move forward here, but it's like to be able to help people more and like, you know, missionaries, and help them be able to build an orphanage at some point, and like be able to like go to the next level instead of to buy a car or do whatever. It's like I want to make big impacts.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is my gift, is being able to, you know, run businesses or whatever in order to help people, not to like buy myself a bunch of crap that doesn't really matter. You know, that's been helpful. And then also I do try to avoid debt, like credit card debt at all costs. I do leverage and stuff when it comes to rentals, but I don't see that as like bad debt because that debt makes me money.
Yeah, I share similar thoughts on debt there. I was in a lot of student loan debt when I graduated college and went through Dave Ramsey's program, which was great, very helpful to me, and has helped millions of people. Yeah, tithing too. It's hard. Like a lot of us are so frugal to start with. And in many ways, because you had to be because of survival. I don't know your situation, but that was kind of mine. So then, yeah, once you start tithing and giving to charity, not only do you, like, money doesn't buy happiness, but being generous and helping others who legitimately need it, that can give little moments of happiness for me and others I know. I forget it's like the closed hand versus the open hand. And once you life with an open hand and you start giving regularly, I can't articulate the ways that God works, but for a lot of people I know that do this, it comes back around, you know, plus some. And
for sure, that's like a thing me and my wife have now. Of like, if I have like a bunch of deals come through or a lot of money come in, I'm like, well, either something bad's gonna happen to us or somebody needs some money. So we'll see what happens. And generally, one of those two ends up happening. It's like there's a big expense. So I don't know. It's like it's really cool to kind of trust and let go of a lot of stuff. It also reduces some stress where you're like,
a ton of stress. Yeah. Well, thanks for your time, Gabe. I've really enjoyed this conversation and meeting you. Look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. It was fun. Appreciate it. Subscribe down below. Do it.
Subscribe down below. Thanks all. And where can folks learn more from you?
Gabe Bult on YouTube.